Hi, I'm Karen Kimbrough, Chief Economist at LinkedIn. And lately, we've been doing quite a bit of work trying to understand the world of the green economy. What is the intersection between green skills, green jobs, and the future of the world of work? So, I'd like to take a couple of minutes and share with you some of our findings in the past year and what we're seeing going forward. First off, why is this important? Well, in a macro context, climate change is one of the largest threats facing this current generation. And what we're seeing is COVID has been a little bit of a catalyst, if you will, kind of a unique opportunity to kickstart some work by the private sector and the public sector to support what you might call a green recovery. We're seeing transitions towards this through the relocation of resources. We're seeing it by activities driven more by low carbon efforts that are more resource efficient. And so we want to be a part of this at LinkedIn and share with you what our data is showing us about how jobs are evolving to meet this need of this green recovery, if you will. So maybe let me start off first by saying, like, what are green skills? Green skills are really the skills or knowledge that a worker has to show them how they can help optimize stewardship or conservation of natural resources. It can be anything related to how they produce goods or services. And in our work, we looked across 800 different possible core green skills. We included skills that not only that people have in what you might call traditional green jobs, but also skills that people might have in non-green jobs. So think of that as you might be an ecologist, is a very traditional green job, but a non-green job might be something in sustainable investment. So what we're seeing in this sort of look across green skills is that they're growing across most industries. What that means is that if you think about skills that are extremely green, if you will, that might be something more towards construction or healthcare or public administration, which has a lot to do with how cities plan the use of their green spaces, their walkways and bikeways and transport. All of those are much more advanced in terms of industries with green skills than say some of the others, such as media or legal professions, which are typically less characterized by core green skills. One of the things that we're seeing right now in our data that I wanted to highlight also was just how much take up there is by employers for green skills. When we look at hiring rates across the range of different countries that we can see, and at LinkedIn, we have a span of a network that covers the whole globe with 700 million members, 55 million companies. And what we're seeing is that the hiring rates for people with green skills is 1.5 times faster than for those without green skills. So it's telling us to some degree there is a demand, if you will, by employers for green skills. People are getting hired more quickly when they have them. And it's not really a surprise to us. We're seeing it when it comes to anything to do with ecotourism, anything to do, again, like I said, with healthcare, with public administration, but also construction and transport. And so, what tells us is that the shift to the green economy is well underway. Many of the skills that are being sought after are highly specialized. They can be things like for environmental scientists or sustainability managers. But we also found green skills that are trending among professionals in roles that are not at all traditionally green. Think about something like environmental finance, climate risk management. So, portfolio managers and investment analysts are looking for more climate expertise to assess risks and think about where they want to invest. So, with this shift well underway, one of the things that's come to mind is the fact that the ILO, the International Labor Organization, has estimated that as many as 24 million jobs could be created by 2030 that are in the green economy. This is actually not that many jobs, to be honest with you. There are millions and millions of jobs being created every year in the US alone, not to mention worldwide. So 24 million is not huge. What I think is almost the bigger set of news is that so many jobs are increasingly incorporating a little bit more of green skills. So employers are increasingly focused on hiring for green skills rather than just degrees. I don't think we're going to see degrees change. What people study at school is not going to evolve as much as the content for whatever they're getting the degree in. So let me give you an example. Think about an architect. Architects still need architecture training, they still need architect degrees. But while they're studying, one of the things they're going to start to learn is maybe drafting classes that give them skills to develop buildings that incorporate more daylight, more natural light to light buildings as opposed to using energy. These are types of skills that are going to remain within the architecture occupation. So we'll always have architects, but they're going to become greener over time. I like to think of this as a green evolution, not a green revolution. And it's going to take several years for us to get there, but we're starting to see it happen already with the skills that are increasingly coming into different occupations. So, what industries are we seeing that are, really reflecting this demand for green skills? I would say there's no one single green industry anymore. We're seeing green jobs across a span of industries. Think about fashion and sustainable fashion. Think about technology and the use of data managers, thinking about what's the energy load on their network. We're thinking about the transportation industry and fleet managers who are suddenly redevising how they think about what their fleet should look like and how they repair that fleet and manage that fleet and how long it lasts. So all types of jobs are changing and they're across all industries, but they're happening at different rates. One of the things that I probably will, you know, most stress is that we're seeing the fastest growth in demand for green talent in the energy and mining space, which is no surprise. But at the same time, we're seeing maybe a deeper set of green skills concentrated in some of the industries I already mentioned. So, for example, energy and mining is moving very quickly to hire more and more people with green skills, but the construction industry, manufacturing, they are already pretty well advanced and starting to think about what are sustainable inputs and products, how do they manage their suppliers and the procurement, and how do they essentially operate with a lower carbon footprint. And we're seeing that everywhere, not just in the US, but in China, in Brazil, and in Europe, of course, which is in some ways ahead of the US. And so finally, maybe in closing, I would leave you with just one thought or call to action. When we think about where the world of work is going in the future, one of the things that our data at LinkedIn is showing us very quickly is that people adapt to their environment. When companies take the lead, when companies set ambitious goals, people will strive to fill them. So my call to action is actually not to individuals, but to companies to be bold, to be ambitious, to invest in training of your employees. Because if you set an ambitious goal, people will strive to meet it. And I think that's how we advance this green evolution even further and even faster. Thank you.